We are in a serious mess. The nation is in shambles. Real mess, I say.
If you see what I am saying, you will have used the most appropriate word, desire.
Derailed, entangled.
Okay, enough. Whatever you call it, all we are saying is that the business environment is very pragmatic, repulsive, very hopeless and gloomy.
Before you break our head with big grammar, let us address the issue of incessant robbery, epileptic power supply, and high rates of youth unemployment.
What is the hue and cry about? All we need is a conducive business environment.
But sacrifice, I call it. It is the only way out.
Sacrifice?
Yes.
Can someone tell me Collins is not going bonkers? Sacrifice? To who? Sango, the god of thunder, Obatala, Eshu, or Amadioha? Who is to appease Collins?
The nation, of course.
The nation?
Yes, the nation.
Fine then. Now that you assume the role of a priest, what is the recipe for the sacrifice?
Tax.
Tax?
Yes, tax. The more revenue we get from tax, qualitative education, good roads, electricity, and even better job opportunities will go round children of the poor. The issue of school dropouts tormenting the nation will be laid to rest.
Oh, that's very good.
No more thuggery and no more armed robbery. The more the number of people paying tax, the better the status of social amenities. And to crown it all, people will be enabled to purchase more goods and services, and there will be more revenue coming to we businessmen and women as profit. Isn't it like it pays to pay your tax?
Yes, it pays to pay your tax.
Yes, indeed, all we need is tax. Tax is the sacrifice we all need to make for all the goodies that we seek and desire to go around. That drama piece came to you courtesy of the Corporate Communications and Liaison Department at the Federal Revenue Service in Abuja. And if you ask me, that is indeed a good job. There's more from where that came from. The program is Tax Matters, and we begin this episode on a sad note. We want to join millions of other Nigerians in condemning the killings that took place in Plateau State in the first weekend of July. These killings are becoming too many and too regular. We are convinced that there is no religion that allows any adherent to take the life of a fellow human being. We begin to wonder, because this is our own constituency, we begin to wonder what effect all this will have on revenue generation. Because without revenue, without taxes, the goodies that we all expect to provide us the good life that we all seek to live will elude us. Just down south in Lagos, the partial closure of the Third Mainland Bridge is taking its toll on business. But we have since discovered that the Federal Revenue Service is coping very well in spite of all the challenges. For 2 days, Wednesday the 4th and Thursday the 5th of July 2012, the top echelon of the service was in Lagos for the regional meeting of the Field Operations Group. Field Operations Group, FOG for short, is the grouping of tax collectors, taxmen and women in all the various offices of the Federal Revenue Service all over the country. Micro and small taxpayers office, medium taxpayers office, and the large taxpayers office. That meeting afforded the acting executive chairman of the Federal Revenue Service, Alhaji K.M. Mashi, to visit his staff in Lagos for the first time.
Earlier in the year, we were in Asaba, in Delta State, and Sokoto, in Sokoto State, for the South-South and North-West regional meetings in April and May, respectively. This is a line with our resolve to move the field operations manager meetings through all the regions within the year, and perhaps get the members of the management to have closer interactions with our field officers across the country. This is my first official visit to Lagos since my assumption of duty as the acting chairman of the service. I'd like to use this opportunity to thank you all for your support and cooperation extended to me in this new role.
The acting executive chairman gave a charge.
Go and do your best, whatever you need to do in your office, to give effective and good leadership to the staff. That is one. Two, to taxpayers, we should partner well with the taxpayers, assess and collect what we are supposed to collect, so that at the end, we can beat our chest and say we have performed. Management is under intense pressure to improve our collections, to do back duty audit and what have you. The whole essence is, what can we do better? And I know with the caliber of staff we have in the field, there is nothing we cannot do to exceed our target.
Earlier in his welcome address, the coordinating director of the Field Operations Group at the FRS, Mr. S.S. Ogumbeson, gave the scorecard of the service for the period January to June 2012, and more specifically, that of the 3 operational regions of the Federal Revenue Service in Lagos. Mr. Ogumbeson disclosed that out of a half-year 2012 target of 2,542 billion, the Federal Inland Revenue Service collected 2,116 billion, an achievement of 83%. This is notwithstanding the fact that foreign collections for the month of June were not captured as at the time of collation of figures. In the month of June 2012 alone, non-oil tax collections, again excluding foreign component, stood at 231 billion naira as against a target that is expected revenue of 148 billion naira. With regard to the 3 operational regions of the FRS in Lagos, Mr. Ogumbeson disclosed that the Lagos Island region collected 64 billion 416 million 25,561 naira as against a target of 31 billion 45 million 301,313 naira, a whopping performance of 207% above target. The erstwhile Lagos Mainland region, which was split into 2, Lagos Mainland East and Lagos Mainland West, early in the year 2012, are still grappling with teething problems. But nonetheless, Lagos Mainland West made 117% above target, while Lagos Mainland East made 49.67%. You may well wonder what is responsible for this good performance in spite of all the challenges in the polity.
Non-oil revenue has increased this particular month because it is the first month when returns are expected to be filed. Companies are given normally 6 months after the end of the accounting year to file returns. So this is the month when they are expected to file return. Because I actually analyzed the 231 billion and I saw that it's coming from the large tax offices. These are companies that are complying, they are paying heavy taxes, and this is the first month of payment. The old self-assessment regime is such that they have between now and the next 5 months to pay under the 6 months instrumental payment arrangement. But you know, under the revised self-assessment regime, we're changing the practice. We want them to begin the payment from January of successive year. But the request from them was that we did not determine this early enough, and the self-assessment regulation was not published early enough to allow them make projections, financial cash flow projection. So they have waited. If they have been making these payments since January or from April, you're not going to have this high level of collection this month. But aside of that, non-oil revenue is increasing for the reason that our people are now partnering more with taxpayers. We call them, we remind them, we do a lot of sensitization, and we're doing enforcement from all angles. That is what is accounting for this. But this particular month, there were a lot of enforcement activities. Even though we haven't visited some of these companies, the fear that we can visit some of the oil companies was enough to drive fear into them. So that has actually helped our collection. Well,
this operational meeting is holding in Lagos. We note that from 2 regions, Lagos Island and Lagos Mainland, you have increased to 3, and more tax offices have been created. You want to share some of this with us and the reason why you have increased the number of tax offices?
Okay, one of our objectives is moving closer to the taxpayers. We encourage movement and partnership with them. We want to minimize the cost of compliance so that they don't have to travel too far to access our services. Now, when we saw that there's a growing need for a new tax office in some areas, either on account of the number of tax cases our officers are handling is becoming unwieldy and large, we realize that the officers can only focus attention on just a very few taxpayers that are producing income and paying taxes. And the moment they can get their taxes from those ones, they cover their sides from all the others. So we're saying if we break the office and have equivalent number of staff to address the problems of others, more taxpayers will be focused upon. That's the spirit behind expanding. We did it in oil and gas, not only the mainland region. We created 2 additional offices out of the oil and gas to make 3. The reason is for focus, special focus, so that upstream can be given proper attention, the oil servicing company can be given proper attention, and the petrochemicals can also be given focus. So it's both for focus and span of control.
Finally, sir, within the overall performance of the service, you are in charge of the field men, the foot soldiers. How are the 3 Lagos regions doing?
I can tell you that today, the Lagos region sustains the country. It provides the revenue for the country. This is where you have the taxpayer base. This is where you have the highest level of compliance. This is where companies' income tax is actually happening, not withholding taxes. In other regions, what we get from them is withholding taxes because there are fewer taxpayers that really understand what they should be doing. But we are not saying because Lagos is the main contributor, we won't focus on the other region to also bring them to the level that will help the whole country. But Lagos is still Lagos and is the contributor of the revenue of government at all the levels.
We nonetheless decided to go further back in time to the beginning of the reform and modernization of the Nigerian tax system in general and the reform of the FIRA itself in particular.
One of the key achievements of the first modernization is the payment system. Before then, taxpayers used to go and pay into the bank using checks, and there were a lot of check diversion. Now, one of the key modernization that happened during that period is to make the payment process through the bank. And since we started that, it was impossible for you to corner because we didn't have an audit trail. We can check, we can follow how payments are made. If you didn't pay, we can see. Right now, even if a fake tax license is issued quoting a receipt, we can check it. We can confirm that you didn't pay. So I think precisely part of the modernization is also the hiring of very technical, competent people. FIRS today, as a result of that initiative, that first initiative, can compete with any organization in the world, and I mean it in the world, because there are exceptionally trained people. There are over 350 trained chartered accountants. In an organization like this, I haven't seen it anywhere before I came in here.
Now, it's obviously work in progress.
Yes.
So, what are the things you have in the pipeline to further drive the system?
Yes, to further down the system, I think we have quite a lot of initiative. The reason why a complete modernization group is set up from March this year is to focus on a lot of the initiatives that we had. Now, when we started initially, because there was no proper organization, projects are being done by other departments, projects get stalled. The projects get not finished. Today, with a complete group set as modernization group, all projects under us, with the technical assistance we're getting from Accenture, from US Treasury, all of our projects are now online, on time. I can tell you that we set to achieve our human capital computerization system where we had four modules. They were implemented dead on time. Today, there's a plan. We are doing the modernization of the finance now, HR and procurement processes. Now, we expect to go live by end of November to early December. And inshallah, we are still on course and we will achieve it. And then after that, we have various other initiatives, like we have an Aisha, a document management system. The document management system is such that everybody in the service across the country will get things done online, real time, at the same time. So, from my office, all I need is, if I want to give information to everybody in the group or everybody in the FRS, it's just by a press of a button and everybody gets it. So, Aisha is already doing it. We are now holding our meeting in the headquarters at the management level, at the board level, almost paperless. All that we need is anybody that has something to present, send it to the management secretariat or board secretariat, and they load it into the Aisha, and everybody with his laptop, with his iPad, and all of us at management and board will have iPad now. So we just come into the meeting with your iPad. All of the information that needs to do are already in the system, and you look at it without paper. That's what we're trying to do, and we intend to go that across the entire country. Now, the most important project is the ITAS, and it's called Integrated Tax Administration System. That is computerizing the entire tax system. When I mean the entire, I mean the entire system. Such a change that you see in the bank today. If you go to the bank and you want to know anything about your own affairs, all that the bank clerk anywhere in Nigeria needs to do is to put in your account number. Now, with your TIN number, we have every information about the taxpayer. We are currently linked with customs, so if you import any good, the tax officer knows. We are currently linked with the Corporate Affairs Commission. As you register a company, it's mandatory that as you register a company, you will automatically be in the tax net. Similarly, we are trying to link with all the banks. We're trying to link with also. So the projects are so gigantic. Now, there's one we're also formulating. One of the newest process that we want to do now is to pay VAT online. When you go to buy your goods, as you pay to the merchant, typically before you pay to the merchant including VAT, then the merchant will remit the VAT to us 1 month after. Sometimes they don't remit. We don't even know how much they have collected. Now we are going to a system with the cashless Lagos. Next week we are coming to Lagos to meet with them, so that as you are paying, the VAT element is going to FRS directly. Yeah, so the merchant has no choice about it. It's not his money. So we're trying to do the same with withholding tax. Next week, we are going to meet with the airline group, and we want to, as you buy a ticket and as you check into a flight, the VAT element of it gets to FRS. So a lot of initiatives are going on in the service.
How long it will take for you to clear my container?
I dey do am, Oga. Then Sable will go bring our team.
Our team? Which team?
Custom don't change, Oga. And FRS Sable.
And what you concern FRS with my business? I will talk to Gaba myself. You are fired. Oga Gaba, which one be this our team again?
The taxpayer identification number now the only way where you fit take do business with Nigerian Customs Service now. You fit process your own free tin sharp for any FRS office.
Soji,
you don't sack me, no.
Get our tin now.
This message now from Federal Inland Revenue Service and Nigeria Customs Service.
There used to be a time when circulars used to be rolled out regularly for the benefit, for the education and guidance of taxpayers and consultants. We've not been seeing these circulars for some time now. What efforts are you making to make issuance of circulars a regular occurrence?
I agree with you. Not many are coming out. They are not coming out as they used to be. But I want to advert your mind to something. The issue of manuals was not as frequent as we are having now. For example, the management has just approved what we call debt management manual. It took us some time. In fact, to some extent, a consultant also had to come in to us assist. And I can tell you, it has not been approved. And with that alone, it's a big book. You have to go around the offices and sensitize them to it. So the issue of circulars is still there. But the issue of manuals is the one where we are actually moving much more because of the importance, because it is something that will help our auditors, our staff in the future to be able to function better. So I agree with you. We have not set aside the issue of circulars, but in fact it will still be it's an ongoing thing. I can tell you today that there are some circulars in process, which the management will soon approve and also give out. But I tell you, the manuals are coming out in larger number so that the work is also done better.
And from the man at the helm of it all, how well are you doing?
I would say we are doing well. Well, in the sense that monthly our collection is increasing, especially non-oil, which is key to us.
We noticed a few weeks ago also that the FRS enforcement team visited some offices in Lagos, and incidentally you are in Lagos now. What gave rise to the need for those enforcement and tax recovery exercises?
You see, first and foremost, we try to work with taxpayers in a harmonious way. But at the same time, we have powers to enforce collection of taxes, especially taxes assessed but not paid, especially when we write letters of demand and those letters are not responded to, especially when our staff visit the taxpayers and they are denied access to the premises. Then, when you collect VAT and you refuse to remit, that is outright criminal act. And we have laws to enforce that. When you don't file returns, it's another issue which we can enforce. Or when you forge our documents, that is criminal. So that's what informed the recent enforcement. It is going to continue. It's going to be a sustained effort where we go to court and judgment is given in favor of others. We will try to enforce. Where we write demand letters and the letters are ignored, we will go and enforce, all in an effort to generate the much revenue for government. Because without the revenue, there will not be any good governance. So that's what informs our actions. And I'm happy to say it's paying off because, you see, our collection is improving.
Are you confident that come December 2012, you will have discharged the responsibilities, that you will have given enough to the government to do what it wants to do?
Well, government gave us a target, and we are working towards even exceeding the target, inshallah. So by December, God willing, we will exceed our target. That I'm committing to.
Finally, sir, we wonder what advice you have for the taxpayer out there.
I'm appealing to all our taxpayers to try to support us, because this work we are doing is for all of us, the country, our children and great-grandchildren, yet unborn. Once we develop the country, everybody will benefit. Without the taxes, there's nothing we can do. You have to contribute to your own quota before you can criticize government. If you don't contribute by paying taxes as and when due, you have no moral right, you have no moral justification to complain about the type of government you have. So, secondly, I will appeal to taxpayers that if they don't get good services in our office, they have every right to call and complain, and they will look at it and deal with the issue. Because we have partners in progress. If there is no taxpayer, there will not be tax collector. In fact, taxpayers pay our salary. So we owe them that respect to treat them well.
Yeah, the taxpayer is king when he or she pays as and when due. It's time to go. We hope that once again we have been able to further deepen your knowledge of the workings of the Nigerian tax system. And so we want you to join us on this same station next week, same day of the week, same time of the day, for a fresh episode of Tax Matters. In the meantime, please, let's stop the killings. Bye for now.